You are listening to The Vocal Technologist. Spoken tech for your ears.
If you're building anything in tech right now, you know how it feels. The founder journey. It used to be this steady, predictable grind.
A marathon.
Exactly. But today, it feels like the entire playbook just gets thrown out every 6 months.
Yeah.
The speed of it all is, well, it's exhilarating on one hand.
And terrifying on the other.
Completely. And it demands that we're constantly re-examining everything, our product, our sales strategy, how we think about money.
You just don't have time to read every single report or investor deck.
No way. And that is exactly why we've put all this together for you today. We're going to unpack the most crucial and often contradictory information you need right now. We're talking everything from AI scaling to the psychology of an investor call.
This is the crash course.
It is. Welcome back to what we do best here at The Vocal Technologist.
And that speed you mentioned, it creates this massive tension for founders. We're moving from an era where you could just talk about digital transformation.
Right. A nice slide deck was enough.
A nice slide deck, exactly. But now you have to actually execute it. You have to weave AI into the very DNA of your company. And that gap, that chasm between talking and doing, that's where huge value is either created or just completely vaporized.
Okay, let's jump right in. The single biggest headline that just turns the last 5 years of thinking on its head is this: the age of scaling is over. What does that even mean for a founder who was, taught to believe that innovation was all about more data, more GPUs?
It means the goalposts have moved, fundamentally. For years, the whole industry was built on scaling laws. The idea was simple. You double the training data, you double the compute.
And you get a better model, predictably.
But those laws are flattening out. We're seeing diminishing returns on just making things bigger.
So where's the focus shifting to now?
It's moving, and pretty dramatically, to something called test-time compute. The best way to think about it is this. Training is like studying for a test. You're consuming tons of resources to build a knowledge base. But test-time compute is about how much energy the model spends during the exam.
So at the moment, it's actually reasoning through a customer's problem?
Exactly. It's less about having the biggest brain and more about using the brain you have efficiently when it really counts.
That's a fantastic distinction. It's about quality of thought, not just brute force knowledge.
Precisely. And while the tech is pivoting there, most companies are still stuck in what's being called transformation theater.
Transformation theater, I like that.
Yeah, they have this slick press release about their AI integration, but internally. The dashboards show logins, not actual usage.
So employees are opening the new tool once and then just abandoning it.
2 weeks later, it's gone. The company looks transformed, but the day-to-day workflow hasn't changed at all.
But here's the pushback, right? If you're trying to move fast, forcing your team to adopt AI, it can feel authoritarian. Won't that just tick people off?
It's a real fear, but the data is pretty clear on this. The companies that go all in, the ones that make AI integration mandatory, they're the ones seeing real results.
Like more revenue, lower headcount.
Increased revenue, and a necessary reduction in headcount. Your best people, they get it. They know this isn't just another tool. It is the new workflow. And if your leadership is just putting on a show, the people who want to be at the cutting edge, they'll leave.
That puts a lot of pressure on the tech to actually work. And we saw this wild detail about how Silicon Valley is training these new AI agents.
Oh, yeah. The shadow sites.
What is that? It sounds kind of ominous.
It's a game changer. They're literally building shadow sites, perfect replicas of popular complex websites. Imagine a perfect copy of Amazon's checkout or your company's Gmail dashboard.
And the AI just practices on these fake sites.
Exactly. It practices navigating them to complete really specific multi-step tasks. It's learning the unwritten rules of how the internet actually works.
So it's learning how to, say, file an expense report or book a flight without needing a human to show it where the submit button is.
Terrifyingly effective, isn't it? Once it masters the replica, it can operate on the real thing. It's all about training the AI's judgment layer, not just the execution layer. And the belief is this is directly preparing these agents to replace a huge chunk of white-collar work.
Okay, so if the product strategy is shifting so dramatically, the go-to-market, the GTM strategy, has to shift with it. You can't use 2018 sales tactics for 2025 AI.
You really can't. And the biggest failure we see in GTM today is companies trying to automate a process that's fundamentally broken.
They're scaling their ad spend before they even know if the message works.
Right. And automation, in that case, it just helps you fail faster. scales the failure.
So the recommendation is this GTM Delta framework.
It's a critical internal check. The whole idea is you have to fix your market and message foundation before you spend a single dollar on outreach. Most marketing teams just operate like a library.
Just dumping PDFs and blog posts on people.
Exactly, and they hope the prospect will figure it all out themselves. You have to stop being a library and start being a guide.
A guide. I like that. So you diagnose the problem for them and lead them to the solution.
Yes, even if the solution sometimes involves a competitor, your revenue goes up when you can define the prospect's problem better than anyone else. And that's especially true when you're selling to engineers.
Ah, yes. The toughest audience. They assume every salesperson is, let's say, non-technical.
They do, and you have to respect their time. Engineers almost never prioritize cost. They care about three things: scalability, speed, and reliability.
So your outreach has to be super low-key.
Totally. Just focus on how you save them effort, reduce their tech debt. You can't agitate them into a sale. You have to let them come to you through great documentation and zero friction.
And speaking of efficiency, the Vercel case study on sales optimization is just, it's mind-blowing.
It is. What's amazing is how quickly the role of the human salesperson changed. Vercel put an AI sales agent on their inbound leads.
And it could just respond instantly.
Instantly. It would triage the lead, analyze the quality, and dramatically shrink the number of human touches needed to qualify them.
And the result was, what? Their inbound team shrank from 10 people to 1.
10 SDRs down to 1. In 6 weeks. A 90% reduction.
So what does that one human do now?
That person is now freed up for deep relationship building.
Yeah.
The high-value customers. The AI handles all the high-volume filtering, which lets the human focus their very expensive time on strategy and relationships.
So AI actually makes the human touch more valuable.
More impactful, not less. But that kind of efficiency, it has to change how you price things, right? The traditional usage-based SaaS model is starting to break.
Why is that?
Well, usage-based pricing made sense when you were paying for, say, data storage, but with AI, why should I pay you per API call when the real value I'm getting is millions in saved time? The value isn't in the usage, it's in the outcome.
So the next step is outcomes-based value.
It has to be. Instead of paying, $5 per 1,000 queries, you'd pay a flat fee plus a percentage of the guaranteed result.
Can you give me an example?
Sure. Let's say your AI guarantees a 15% drop in customer churn. You structure the payment around that measurable outcome. It completely aligns your incentives with your customer success. It's hard to do, but it's the only model that really reflects the leverage AI gives you.
Okay, let's connect the dots here. If AI is making customer acquisition so much cheaper, what does that do to venture funding? I mean, we saw that Q3 2025 had this huge sum of funding, rising valuations.
Yeah.
Sounds great.
It looks great, yeah, but you have to look under the hood. A lot of that volume is driven by mega funds writing these mega checks, billion-dollar rounds.
And that inflates the averages for everyone else.
It inflates everything. And these huge funds are coming into earlier stages now, seed and Series A, which just blurs all the lines.
So if you're a founder raising a normal seed round, how do you even know what a fair valuation is?
It creates this dangerous valuation paradox. The best companies are raising at higher valuations, which is good, but they're often using that expensive equity capital in the wrong way. If AI can handle your GTM filtering for almost nothing, why are you spending millions in expensive equity on low-risk GTM stuff that you could finance with debt?
It's like raising money for a Ferrari and then using it to buy a bicycle.
That's a perfect way to put it. You have to share sophisticated capital allocation, not just growth at any cost.
And speaking of raising money, there is a fantastic framework in here for managing investors. It basically says you lose the investment the second you lose control of the meeting.
This is so critical. An investor is judging your leadership by how you manage their time. If you let them wander through your deck and derail the conversation...
You look unfocused. You look like you lack control.
Exactly. You, the founder, have to set the agenda and drive the conversation.
And the winning 30-minute call has a very strict psychological sequence.
You have to stick to it. Intro, context, proof, ask, and next steps. And that proof section isn't just your product demo. It's how you present your metrics. The ask and next steps show you're in control of the process.
All right, let's fast forward to the end game. We have to talk about the awkward exit, that gray zone acquisition between $150 and $300 million.
Dude, this is where so much pain happens for founders. A $200 million exit is life-changing for the team, but for a Series C investor who is betting on a $1 billion outcome, they see it as a failure.
So the board deadlocks.
Yeah.
The early investors want the sale, but the later stage funds might actually block it.
They'll block it because they don't want to show a big write-down on their books. It's all politics.
So how do you, as the founder, break that deadlock?
You have to solve it much earlier. During your Series B or C round, you need to proactively negotiate secondary sales for your early investors and employees.
So they can cash out some of their shares early.
Let them take some chicks off the table. It satisfies their need for liquidity and removes their incentive to block a smaller exit later. It's a key strategic move to keep control of your company's future.
So what does this all mean for just day-to-day execution? All these pivots, they require incredible leadership and mental clarity. Let's talk management philosophies.
Right. And there's a sharp contrast drawn here. Transparent leadership beats servant leadership.
Explain that. Servant leadership sounds good.
It sounds good, but the servant leader who's always clearing obstacles for their team, they become an overworked single point of failure. If that leader leaves, the team has no idea how to solve problems on their own. The whole organization just freezes.
So a good leader's goal isn't to solve problems, it's to make themselves redundant.
Absolutely. A good leader coaches. They teach methodical problem solving. They're constantly training their own replacements. That's the only kind of leadership that scales in an era like this.
And when you're building that team, let's look at Peter Thiel's filter for talent. I mean, he recruited the founders of YouTube, LinkedIn, Yelp.
All of them, yeah, before they were famous.
He looked for a very specific combination of traits.
He looked for people who were both stubborn and open-minded. You need the stubbornness to push a really original idea all the way to the finish line, but you also need the open-mindedness to look at the data and make a hard pivot when reality tells you to.
And in the age of AI, you need both of those in equal measure.
Every single day. But that pressure to execute perfectly, it can lead founders to undermine themselves, usually through perfectionism. But perfectionism is often just procrastination wearing a tuxedo.
Huh. I love that.
It's true. The obsession with being flawless prevents you from ever finishing. You have to shift your goal from being perfect to being prolific. Completion is the only currency that matters.
That focus on mental efficiency brings us to a really big warning sign about these AI-first workflows. We might actually be making ourselves dumber.
This needs to be on every leadership team's agenda. There was an MIT study that showed students who used AI at the start of a task
To generate the initial ideas.
Right. They had significantly lower neural activity and memory retention. If you use AI to skip the hard part, the initial cognitive struggle, your brain just kind of checks out.
So the solution isn't to ban AI, it's to enforce a sequence. Think first, AI second.
Exactly. You draft the structure yourself. You do the hard thinking. Then you use the AI as a devil's advocate to critique your work. Ask it for 10 counter-arguments. That keeps your brain engaged, but still leverages the AI's speed.
Which brings us to a final, pretty stark warning for founders. The 9-Danane-6-0 outcome.
This is about the gamble of the current AI gold rush. You're trading those grueling 996 work weeks, 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. 6 days a week for a future lottery ticket.
But the warning is that VCs risk money, which they have a lot of. Founders risk time, which you can never get back.
Exactly. And when the bubble bursts, and some of them will, all those years of sacrifice, all that time away from your family, it yields $0, the zero outcome. It's a critical reminder about the true cost of the gamble you're taking.
This whole conversation just shows that the modern founder has to be a master integrator. You have to balance this insane technological speed with just fundamental business discipline. If you look at a company like Amazon, their core habits never really changed. Customer obsession, thinking in 5 to 7 year horizons, taking operational rigor seriously. That's your anchor.
Even when the tools change every month.
Especially then. And if you're running the numbers on your next funding round, maintaining that mental stamina, that clarity is, well, it's everything.
And that leads to a final thought for you to chew on. Consider your information diet.
Okay.
Our brains are wired to seek new information. Historically, that was a survival instinct. But today, that instinct gets hijacked by information junk food. If you really want to absorb decades of someone else's experience in minutes, which is the whole point of listening to world-class people, you have to treat listening and thinking as two separate, mutually exclusive acts.
You mean that awkward pause after someone speaks but before you reply?
You have to enforce that thinking pause, even if it feels uncomfortable. It's the only way to truly synthesize what's real about your market to separate what you hope is true from what is true. If you're already planning your response while they're still talking, you're not really listening to them, you're just listening to yourself.
Spoken Tech for your ears.